waiting to welcome everybody. Miss Kathy, are you on there yet? Of course.
I am ready for you, Doc. I
There
can't
you
wait to hear what
are.
for us today.
Hey, I'm gonna have a watch party for all of our friends out there just to remind them we're on. So, how are you today, Miss Queenie?
It's Monday. It's high noon. I couldn't be any better. How about you, Doc?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. The weather has been great, so it makes me happy. We got a lot of rain, so I don't have
I
to
know
water.
why you're happy about that.
I don't have to water.
I knew that
So,
was coming. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. So, anyways,
I also know you've been doing some major work at your house, so I can't wait to hear about that. And I know our faithful friends on purpose are going to love that piece too.
yes, I'd be happy. But you know what I'd like to do first? I'd like to
I
start like
can't wait to hear.
tradition, I should say.
Okay.
We it's been exciting to see all the people that are signing up.
Yes.
And on the Doc and Queenie it says members, but you were really good at kind of replacing that piece and just calling everybody faithful friends on purpose.
Yeah.
So last week I thanked everybody that had signed up last week. We had 10 or 12 people. And so what I would like to do is every week take 10 or 12 people and just say thank you.
Wow.
With a disclaimer. With a disclaimer that I might mispronounce your name. So
yeah.
Forgive me now.
Yeah, we always have disclaimers on this show.
yeah. So because I don't know, I could blame it on something. I'll come up with something creative, unless you can right now.
No. I'll give that one to you. Take it back. You name the names. That's perfect.
So this week, I would like to first say it's an honor and a blessing to us that everybody is following us and that's watching and giving us kudos and support. We appreciate that. And we are honored to have you as part of our group. So I would like to thank our faithful friends on purpose, and bear with me, I'm trying to look in the camera and read at the same time, which is multitasking, which is hard some days, especially on Monday.
It is Monday, yeah.
So I'm going to shout out to Brenda Kempton, Catherine Malaki, Charlene Elliott, Jill Allison, Kelly Sue Robinson, Mary Hartman, Rochelle Hedrick, Rachel. See, I already did it. I was moving too fast. Shannon Luna, Susan Schaefer, Debbie Ashcroft, and Jen Hartle. Thank you for joining our group. We're honored to have you part of our group and part of being the faithful friends on purpose of the Doc and Queenie show, Facebook Live, High Noon Mondays.
That's fabulous. And that really is, because you think about, and when you were going through that list, actually, what came to my mind is, how did we meet these girls? And for me, I don't know if you know this, but I love networking. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a surprise. That's a surprise.
It's a surprise to a lot of people. But one of my greatest blessings has truly been networking, and full-time for 12 years, which is like mind-boggling. But I think back to all the people I've met in those 12 years. Hello, you, and everybody else that you mentioned. That is so much fun for me, because I never take those networking events online or in person as happenstance. I know that they're ordained, and then what happens at those events is always a big deal to me. So when you were going through that list, it's like, oh my gosh. And a lot of times I actually know exactly where I met that person. What about you? That list for you is networking or church or what?
It's kind of a combination of everything. I'm looking at the list. There's a few networking folk there. There's a few people from the church that I go to. And there's a few people from way back when we moved into Gardner that we had met almost 20 years ago, which, I'm only 27. So
we're twins.
Like you, because we're twins. Yes. And it's just,
it's like you to say that with a straight face.
Yeah, and like you say, nothing is happenstance, and we've talked about this before with the chessboard, with God moving the pieces. Just the pieces in our own as friends, how that happened, which when you look at it, it's miraculous in some ways, because it was just I'm saying just, I'm not making it any less. The pieces that had to be moved to get us to cross paths was amazing. Was amazing. Wouldn't you agree on your side of the story here?
As soon, as soon as I heard about all the moving pieces that got you to attend our networking group for the very first time, and I know this will surprise you, but I actually have a picture of the very first time you walked in to No Excuses. And
Wow.
I,
In the
I couldn't,
back.
I'm so serious. Facebook is so cool from a standpoint of holding memories. And when this popped up on July 25th, actually, yes, I know the date. When this popped up, I went, oh my gosh, I remember that day completely. And a lot of the friends that you have met from No Excuses Tribe are in your life today, which is super cool because we still get to stay connected by Zoom. So this has been another blessing. Hello,
Right.
technology, my gift. Oh my goodness. I'm grateful for YouTube.
Better you than me.
Yeah.
Better than you than me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. YouTube videos to teach me how to do things. But think about the tribe and the people that we've met because of networking, and the first time when you walked in, and then we got to know each other better, and every single one of those steps, and I call it a chessboard, the chess pieces have to move just right to align everything his way. And I just really do remember that day. And I remember also how much you absolutely love breadsticks. Oh,
Well, the story behind that is I'm gluten free.
exactly.
99.9% of the time. I do cheat
Yes. Yes.
occasionally,
Well,
but
I
yes,
don't think you ever cheated on a breadstick, actually, and our table was
not there.
filled with breadsticks. And so it was always funny to me. That was the big running joke. Who needs more breadsticks? Oh my gosh.
Well, and they would always put a tray of 12 or 15 of them right in front of me, and I'd just be sitting there dying because they
Yeah.
do smell delicious. They smell delicious.
Oh my gosh. And that's another point also, as far as the networking piece. A lot of times networking does revolve around a luncheon, a meal, a dinner, a breakfast, a something, a brunch, whatever that looks like. And but anyway, the first day that you walked in, I was just like, oh my gosh. So I'm sure you remember that day well. So,
Well, yeah, as I referred to that day, yes, just being nervous, kind of a little bit on the scared side, because I didn't know what I was walking into, really. I mean, I heard great things, but there's a group of how many people are, I'm looking at that picture. There's
this looks like 12-ish. We've had up to 24 before, actually, so it just depended on the week.
12 new people, for me, I jumped right in, not knowing. I knew networking in a different way because I already had a different type of business going, but this was a newbie. I was a newbie in a new business. So, and just, yeah, I think you guys were working on your bio that day.
Absolutely.
I remember that.
You've got a great memory. And that's one of the things we did each week for the Lunch and Learn, some topic that would actually resonate with people that attended, so that it would help their business, even their personal life, their confidence, whatever it looks like. A lot of people are afraid to speak in public. A lot of people aren't. Whatever that looks like, if you need a promo page and somebody says, I'd like you to be the speaker at my something, and you go, I need a what? And they would say bio, and then everybody froze. And so as soon as this group was mentioning some of those things, I thought, well, this might be one of those, I guess you would say, learning tools that they needed to get under their belts. And that's about the time you walked in, and that was about the time that you said, oh, fine. And I was like, oh my gosh, a participant, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah, no clue, but I'll do it anyways. Yeah.
No, and obviously with your website and everything, you were already up and running. So that piece was magnificent too.
Yeah, that's a good memory. That's a good memory.
I was grateful when Facebook popped it up.
And the start of many friendships.
Oh.
I mean, really, I look at that picture. Everybody, we all, even if we don't chit chat or whatever, we're not in person anymore, but every once in a while, I'll get a instant message, or I'll send a text or whatever. Everybody's still, loosely keeping in touch. But that's, like your next book that you've got out here, Queenie, with post quarantine. I mean, it's a different world. It's a different way for relationships. And I think the friendship part is super, super important, especially at this time, as we're all going through stuff. Having a friend that's going through at least, I'm saying it from a business standpoint, but You know, that's important, but also friendship on the outside of the business is important.
I remember, and I hope for all of our friends watching that they will take a look at the Doc and Queenie page. I'm Kathy Weaver, and I'm the Queenie part of this event. And to my left, right, whichever that looks like on your screen, is the one and only Laura Christine, affectionately known to many of us as Doc. And we welcome you today to the Doc and Queenie event, because when we thought about this, the Faithful Friends on Purpose, the Girl Chat with a Faith Twist, it seems to be a need. And for those of you watching now, I hope you'll join our group page on Facebook, Doc and Queenie. And if you scroll down about 4 or 5 videos, you'll get to see the one and only Laura Christine actually do a Hi and Happy Girlfriend's Day. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Girlfriend's Day was the beginning of this month. This is August 2020. Oh my gosh. And Girlfriend's Day is a big event. But why is it an event at all? If every day is Girlfriend's Day, kind of like when they call it Kid Day or Child's Day or whatever that looks like. If you have kids, you know that every day is Kid Day. But it's back to the girlfriends thing. It needs to be recognized. And what is a girlfriend? And you did such a great video on that. What prompted you? That was awesome.
You know, I actually saw somebody posted that. And I thought, hey, you know, because I'm actually, my background, I don't know if too many people, you probably know this, Queenie, because we're friends, but my background, my original degree is in graphic design. So I love the video creativity, you know, and I'm playing with it because I'm having such a good time. And so I thought, oh, let's just, and these cameras that we have nowadays are fantastic. So I'm like, I'm just going to wish a happy girlfriend friendship day thing and send it to Queenie. So that's, you know, that's where that came from. But I saw somebody post it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, I think it's super cool. And like I say, I'd love to have that documented, shall we say, and it'll pop up as a memory in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years that we're doing Doc and Queenie. So this should be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see what the technology looks like then. And I'm so glad that you are good at all the graphic design and the movie.
Trying.
And everything that you do, because then there's me. So I guess it's one of those things, we each have our gifts. And I think about that a lot. It's been very fun for us to see the interaction with all of you watching, and certainly afterwards for the replays. And the questions that have been coming through have been so much fun to hear also. What do you think, Doc, actually, when the ladies are asking us these questions, the first thing I think about is what's the backstory of that? It's not just a kind of question, and that's why a lot of it's done through Messenger, private text messages, et cetera, except for on this page. I wonder what the backstory is. What do you think about that?
Just the piece on the backstory in general of why they ask what they ask. You know, yes, I mean, that's a lot of times, like we talked last week, I think, you know, God's in control of everything. We're only responsible for the way we respond. And the way somebody responds really is a response to the story in their head. And I preach that a lot in my businesses, because it really is. Let's take diet, for example. Oh, I'm too fat. Well, that's a story in your head. You could be just right for the way God made you. You know, I mean, it's that kind of thing. And when people ask questions, a lot of times what I've noticed in my experience is they're really asking for themselves, or there might be something that they're struggling with. So they'll ask the question, you know, and you can see it on their face processing it, or in the way they respond. You know, I'm seeing if you see them face to face or whatever. But a lot of times it is the story in your head, which would mean or be defined at how you see the world through your filter. You know, that's a biggie. That's how we see, you know, in these traumatic times of stress, high stress, that's in my idea, my way of looking at things is that's why you see one person react one way to the stress, and you see another person, you know, react a different, whether it's the first person is stressed out and, you know, they're going to jump, and then you see the other person that's cool and calm and happy, and you don't know anything's going on. So I don't know if that does that seem like a good illustration to you? Did I hit what you're looking for?
It really is a great illustration because I think we can kind of tell the flavor of what's going on as far as social media postings.
Mhm.
Hopefully, with our viewers watching on Facebook Live, yes, our group page, yes, and then obviously it's going to be on our YouTube channels, Lord willing, and I pushed the right button. But it's back to the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah, oh my gosh. But it's back to the same thing. The story in your head is such a big deal, and the acceptance piece. And you can see when people are posting engagement topics. And I was actually on one of my coaching groups this morning, and that's one of the things that they asked. What post has gotten you the most engagement? Well, when this first started, talk about transparency, oh my gosh, I hope I deleted it by now, but I literally posted asking for a friend, which I love that statement. So,
Wink, wink, wink.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that is so good. I prepared all my healthy meals for the day, and here it is 2:15 and they're all gone. Asking for a friend, what do I do now? I got more engagement off of that post than I probably have on many of my other ones, especially business, of course. Obviously, family pictures get a lot of reaction, things like that. But that was amazing to me because what did that do? Instantly, people were feeling the angst of what's going on as far as quarantine, pandemic, vacation, as you call it, all of those things. And as soon as I posted that, you could tell people were going, how did you last till 2:15? So, and I thought, because they were already finished by 10:30. And so it's that kind of engagement. And you're so good, especially with your gardening pictures and the pictures of your family, especially Queen Bella. You're so great at your interaction part to share your gardening stories. I mean, that's fantastic. And your videos are great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and bouncing off of that, as you know, and people that know me, I'm constantly analyzing things. So I've been analyzing
Yeah.
the way I post. And, I try not to, for myself, I try not to step in. I call it step in the puddle. So,
Yeah.
whoever's watching, your interpretation of the story in your head, you take it how you want to.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see posts, in my opinion, others, and I try to do it myself. Even if you don't like to garden or it's mindless or it's just something different. And I try to post positive all the time. I work part-time at a flower shop, and so I'm always taking pictures of the flowers because I love, and that kind of goes with my gardening thing. So I'm always posting that. But I've found it interesting, like you, one of my highest posts as far as responses was when I got my hair cut. That was the highest.
Ah, wow.
And then I do believe when I posted a picture of carrots,
Yeah.
which I was like, okay. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just funny how how people respond. So yeah, and it's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please. It's so much fun because of just like you were saying, even about mindless gardening. It's not mindless because I've learned from you that it is such a technique, such a strategy, such a time efficient piece. Like every single step is vital and important. So when you blessed me with my leek, I decided, since anyone who knows me, the K room is not my comfort zone, let's say that. And so I thought, what am I going to do with a leek? And so I looked it up, I will be honest. And A, what is it? B, what's it for? And C, D, E, F, G, how do I even cut it open? And so I did a video on that, obviously making major fun of me as far as my kitchen skills, but also to thank you for opening new doors all the time. And so I remember that one girl posted, hello, it's a, but the reason I did that obviously is because just engagement. I think we need to lighten up. And I think that's some of the things that I have seen. Girlfriends are so needed right now. Whether you're friends for 30, 40, I have a girlfriend 51 years, or pardon me, she's 51, I'm 27.
Yes.
I'll have to remember that.
Yes.
But I've known her literally since high school, and I was doing the math going, oh my gosh. So it's one of those things that the transparency piece, the resilient piece, the bounce back piece. And just looking at your post right there, I can see why you got so much engagement, because everybody wants to know what's up. Those carrots are beautiful.
Well, unfortunately, those weren't from my garden because my carrots are still growing and they're purple. But
Oh, wow. See, you taught me that too. I would have thought something was wrong with it.
hopefully they will be done here soon. It's just they're really cool. They're purple on the outside and they're orange on the inside. You're like,
Oh my gosh, right up my alley already. Yeah.
But like you said, to bounce off the piece on friendships and girlfriends are so important, and it doesn't matter where they are either. They can be long distance or right next door or down the street. That connection is super, super important. And I mean, I'm sure you can say for your own experience through all this, that was important to be able to follow through with your friends here and there and check on them. I mean, that was the same thing for me. I've got one friend that actually moved away right at the beginning, and we check in every once in a while, and you know who I'm talking to.
I do. Yeah.
But it's hard to go through life without, because we're created for connection and communication, and yeah, it's the atmosphere is not fun. It's stressful. There's a lot going on, but in my philosophy, just pull a positive, even if it's, I got up today, if that's it, then write on that for the rest of the day.
And don't even mention what time you got up, because
Yeah.
6:30.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Others of us,
Exactly.
some people high noon just in time for Doc and Queenie.
Yes. Hey, you're up.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Another day, because we all have a purpose on this earth, whether we think that or not, whether we think we have value or not, we do have value and we do have purpose, and pulling the positive out of each and every day. And if you're blessed to have a friend, that's even better. If you don't have a friend, try to be a friend. What would you say in your mind, Queenie? Let's pick the top 3 things of what it's, what does it take to be a friend? What would you say the top 3 points of being a friend are?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Doc, for not putting me on the spot with that topic.
Too much. I'm trying. I'm sliding all over that. It's Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday.
I'm thankful.
First of all, obviously for me, it is vulnerability, because obviously when people find out about the real you, they're going to go, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Run.
Yeah, exactly. So it's vulnerability, I suppose, a willingness to share, and transparency from a standpoint of flipping it back to the other person. It's not all about me. I think there's a million zillion components to me for friendships. And I think people are, and of course we probably are going to talk mostly about ladies since we are doing the girl chat with the faith twist piece, but it's back to that same thing. If you have a person in your life and you want that to cultivate that relationship, all of those things really, really seriously do matter. And it's going to be back to that same thing. Who am I going to trust? I have a question. Can you help me? Vulnerability pieces are such a big deal. And those are the kind of things that you value that friendship. And what does that look like? Where did you meet them? And I see your girlfriend's behind you. What a cool, cool picture is that?
Yeah, that was about a year ago. We all went out, and that was fun. It was, we're all not together, but we try to be together as much as we can. One person's moved away, so when she comes in town, we all get together. That's what it's all about. It's a good excuse.
That's fun. And oh my gosh, and think about that as an excuse for sure. What do you think are the top 3? I'm gonna flip.
Well, I agree with your top 3. Vulnerability, of course, is a biggie. And accepting the other person for their beliefs and their values. I mean, that's a big piece of friendship, because we're all different. We all believe different things. And I've kind of learned that piece from you a little bit, Queenie, because you ask questions to learn about something. It's like, I could say, I don't like coffee, I hate coffee. And you would go, well, why do you hate coffee?
And I would also say, please don't say that.
Yeah. Instead of going, well, I like coffee and you don't, so I'm not going to be your friend. I'm like, we might as well go back to high school. or some people say even further back. I'm
I
like,
was
oh,
in
I remember.
preschool. Yeah,
Yeah,
preschool.
preschool. So the vulnerability, the acceptance piece. Um, I'm trying to think of the third one. I just drew a blank. Vulnerability,
Well,
acceptance,
transparency certainly, and
transparency.
and
Yes.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust. You can't, you have to trust. And, I think there's a different levels of trust, just like there's different levels of friendships. There are
Oh,
people
no,
out
that's a
there,
good point. That's great.
that are acquaintances, and you only talk about certain things. There's business friendships. You might only see that person in a business setting, and then you have deeper friendships that you'll form, and then I've talked about on my podcast soul tie, and that's that you can have a soul tie with if you're married with your partner, but you can also have a soul tie in friendships. And that in my opinion is the deepest level that you can go, and that's, like you said, vulnerability, that's trust, that's transparency, and that's also loyalty to each other. That's that scripture talks about greatest love is laying down your life for a friend. That to me is the scripture verse for a soul tie. Could you say, maybe that's the question for everybody today, could you say, I'll lay down my life for my friends? And don't limit it to one person, really. Would you lay down your life for somebody else if it came to it? So
that's a beautiful message when you think about the soul tie piece. Tell everyone about how to find your podcast, because that was an awesome message.
Well, I actually am on the ball here this morning. It's called Mighty Morning Moment. And Mondays are hard for me, everybody, because it's Monday. I'm getting there, but it's Monday. My favorite day of the week is Friday at 5:00. So if anybody needs to know that, but I do a podcast I do it off of the Anchor format, but they also spread it out to like Spotify, Google, Apple. There's a whole bunch of different platforms. But what I like to do with my podcast is they're real short. They're 3 to 5 minutes, and it's just thoughts that pop into my head. I've got a lot in between my ears, but just to get people to think. Think about. I've got a whole series on friendships. I'm starting a series, and it's not super up and running yet, but on the diet piece, where I bring in my naturopathic background, and we talk about diets. But I have other thoughts. I'm just trying to think of, actually one that's coming up is who are you is going to be the topic, and what makes us who we are, those types of things. But it's a short little to cause you to think. And that's the purpose. I want people to think.
I just noticed, I think your very first podcast was March 26th.
Yes, that was right.
I would remember. But it's March 26th or March 24th, whichever that date. But if for everyone who's watching, that was incredibly significant to me, because as soon as you started the podcast, we'd basically been in quarantine a week or so. And oh my gosh, how everybody needed your inspirational words, and to be able to start the morning with that. And I actually use Spotify. It seems a little more user-friendly skills. And so I go back to Spotify because it has everything by the date. Your title is on there. It obviously shows if I have listened to it already. And then I can literally go back, and it was very inspirational during a lot of this lockdown, shutdown, vacation, as you say.
Yes.
A lot of people, and I know that that's why you've got so many listeners now, because it is so inspirational, and you can go back and listen again. I really do love that. It's a great format.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, it was beneficial, I hope, for all the people that are following it now. And it also, for myself, to be selfish, it was beneficial for me. It helped me process what was going on out in the world. And it really, for me, nailed down, what do you believe and why do you believe, and how can you translate that to getting people. I'm not going to shove down my beliefs on anybody, but get people to think. I wish there could be some interaction on a podcast from people, but at the end of the podcast, I always say, you can contact me at revdoc7.com, which is a feed into my my business page. But I've had people shoot me emails, which has been fun. It's all about interacting, like we're talking. It's all about connection, whether you're a friend or a business partner or whatever level. It's all about connection, and that's the way we get through it, whatever it is.
One of the things that I've taught, I guess you would say, over the years in some of my workshops for networking and even for the water business has been try very hard to never say no to an invitation. And most people say, oh my gosh, if I said yes to everything. Well, that doesn't mean go to wherever it is. It means try not to say no, because you never know who you're going to meet at the next event. And especially now with the blessing of online, a lot of people think it's tedious, or I can't be in my office all day long for all these Zoom calls. Well, the answer to that is, what if one person shows up on that Zoom call and that would be your next connection piece? Do you actually want to miss it? And probably the answer for many of us is no. Since we started Doc and Queenie, I have literally gotten text messages and even little stories from some of the girls that have been watching. And I know from several years ago, one of the first girls I met networking, I said, what do you think about networking? You know, it's one of my favorite subjects. And she said, I will swear by networking forever, because that's how I've met my bestie. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she did. Both of them were in completely not the same businesses. They did have a congruent theme for one of the companies that they support, but they were not together. They didn't even know of each other prior to that. As soon as they met, it was like, oh my gosh. And they joined each other's company at that point, and they're still friends today. And that was literally like 2000, I think she told me that in like 2009. And so the networking piece has been such a big thing for me. And now that we can work online and certainly Facebook Live, a lot of the girls have been asking things like the trust factor. Think about how social media wants us to stay connected. Now, obviously, anything can be used for evil, I suppose, but think about, we have FaceTime on our phone. We have Messenger app that you can actually make a face call. Obviously, the Facebook Live, certainly these Zoom meetings that we do, one-on-ones and things like that all the time, but it's been a way to stay connected. And I think it's just like you said, have to feel a piece of each other as far as those connection pieces. I love it. I really seriously do. I absolutely love that. Is Zoom your main platform when you do your consulting for your business?
Yes. Yes. I've got a few, it's a majority. I've got a few clients that it's a cell phone, but
Okay.
Zoom is the main. And then, local, if we can find somewhere like a coffee place that's open, depending on, what the subject matter is, I'll do that. But yeah, Zoom is a main platform right now.
Yeah, it's been
great.
so fun. And I even know how to work it sometimes, which is extra fun.
More than I do, I'm still trying to find the any key, which
yeah, the any key is my
geek, and it's all the computer people out there. I'm like, where's the any key?
Yeah. That is so awesome. And it's back to your same thing that you teach too, is the 2 ears, 1 mouth part. We learn so much more by listening than we could ever learn by speaking. And I do love that so much. It's been a huge blessing for me. I want to share my pages so everyone can connect with us. And again, I'm Kathy Weaver. I'm the Queenie part of this. And my company is Miracles with Water. And so you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, any of those places. And my YouTube channel is Kathy Weaver KC. And so I know, Doc, you have a YouTube channel, a business page, all kinds of things. Share those with us.
Well, like I said before, my podcast is Anchor, Spotify. It's Mighty Morning Moment. And I also have my main, like, if you would say the mother business would be the beyondbasichealth.org. If you hit .com, just as a disclaimer, you're going to wind up in Colorado with a chiropractor. So not unless you want to go to Colorado for a chiropractor, but
.org is important.
Yes. But yes, I'm a naturopath with a naturopathic business, and it's called beyondbasichealth.org. And then I also do the YouTube page, which is RevDoc7, and Doc and Queenie with you. So, and they're all tied together. And who knows what else? I'm learning, like you, with the good old social media and how everything interacts. It's been fun.
It's been absolutely so much fun. And honestly, these 30 minutes go by so quickly, and I don't want to take everyone's time longer than our high noon topic. But I really can't emphasize enough how the gratitude piece is so important, how the listening piece is so important, how the reach out piece is so important. Not only especially during this time, but in addition to especially during this time. So I really mean that with all my heart. I so appreciate the ladies reaching out to us. This has been
Yes.
fun.
It has been, yes, and I will just ditto what you just said, because I was going to say the reaching out to others, even if it's just a, hey, I saw you today, or hey, I'm thinking about you, I've had that happen lots of times, and I've done that lots of times, and it's fun, and people might be having a bad day, and just to know that somebody cares, that's important. That's super important.
Imagine what it's going to look like if I ever get another leak in my K room or end up
I'm
on
not
a
sure about the
motorcycle
leak.
jib jab on.
No, no, we might come up with something a little more original than a leek. I'm trying to educate you a little bit on, because I've got some Chinese red long beans growing. So we'll have
Chinese
to.
red long beans. Okay.
Yes.
Intrigued already. I got to see what you do to that. As long as you give me a recipe that goes with it, I think I can handle it.
Pretty easy. So I have to tell you. And if anybody knows what that is or has cooked with it, hey, send me a recipe. I'm always open, vice versa.
No, I love that so much. And it's so fun, honestly, to learn from each other and definitely to share the word about the friendship piece. And we're all in this together. And I love that so much. And it's Girl Chat with a Faith Twist is what we're all about. So, Doc, take it away.
Well, okay. Well, I would like to thank everybody. And like Queenie said at the beginning, this is not happenstance. There is a reason we're all interacting with each other, and there's a reason we're all on together. And it isn't, I'm going to put words in your mouth, Queenie, but we would like to thank you again. It's an honor to be able to share our stuff with you and share conversations outside this and just connect. So have a great Monday.
Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you for joining us today. Have a great week. That's another reason that we meet right here every Monday at high noon. Have a great week, everyone. Bye, Doc.
Take care. Bye, Queenie.